So if our site plan gets approved, this apartment has to get torn down. Whoops. Welcome to Life of an Architect. My name's Tyler, and I'm an architectural designer in California. I'm going to be showing you what I do every day from the view of my computer screen. Let's get started. So I left off in my last episode explaining why I'm creating this drawing that you see right now. What I'm working on is a site plan to submit for review by the City Planning and Development Department. So what exactly am I doing here? Well, I'm detailing the site plan by adding sidewalks, trash enclosures, and landscaping. Those gray squares you see represent an apartment unit. The line down the middle is the dividing wall between two different units. The 2BR is to indicate that these are 2-bedroom units. This is important information to show because later on I'll need to indicate which units will be upgraded for wheelchair access. When I switch to a 3D view of the project, you'll notice that I'm not modeling these as 3D buildings. They only appear as gray blocks in my 2D plan to make the drawing faster and easier to work with. If I built a full 3D model of each apartment unit on this site, not only would it take a long time, but it would take a lot of computer memory and make the file slower to work with. So since I only need to show 2D plans, I'll use these simple gray blocks to represent the buildings for now. So you'll see me drawing the sidewalks around the perimeter of the site, and I know the sidewalk width is about 4 feet, which is a pretty common size. I got this measurement from Google Maps, but like I mentioned in the previous video, my firm hired a civil engineer to survey the site, so I know this measurement is accurate. Most of the sidewalks on the site are 4 feet, which is a minimum for an accessible path of travel. This is required for a person in a wheelchair to be able to travel safely. But you'll notice that the sidewalks leading up to the apartment units are sometimes smaller. At some points they're anywhere from 2 feet to 1 foot 6 inches, which is way too small, so we'll need to upgrade some of these to make them wider. I'm modeling the sidewalk in 3D by using a floor element in Revit, and you might be wondering why I chose to model the sidewalks but not do this for the buildings. Well, like I said, to 3D model the buildings, I would need to model each one individually, which would be something like 80 different buildings. But to model the sidewalks, it's just one single element, so this is a lot easier to work with than 80 different buildings. I'm also creating a 3D element for the trash enclosures on the site by using wall elements in Revit. These are made out of 8-inch concrete masonry units, or more commonly known as CMU blocks. You'll see this material used in this kind of application, or to create other walls like low retaining walls on the site. All the parking lots on the site are also modeled in 3D. You'll see me draw in the paint striping that you normally see in the parking lots with a measurement of 9 feet by 18 feet deep. This is a standard size for a parking space in most areas around here. I'm also drawing in the painted symbols that you see that show where the spaces are handicap accessible. This is important to show because when the city reviews this drawing, they'll want to know how many accessible stalls are on the site compared to regular stalls. And there's actually building and city municipal codes that dictate this ratio of accessible to regular stalls, and if it's not up to code, then we'll have to add more accessible stalls. I'm adding text callouts with arrows pointing to specific items that are important to note, like the property lines, trash enclosures, and parking spaces. You'll see that I don't label things like the sidewalks because most of the people that'll be looking at this drawing already know what that is based on the way it's drawn. You'll see those little specks all over the sidewalk. That's called stipple. Stippling is the creation of a pattern simulating varying degrees of solidity or shading by using small dots. This is a common technique used in artwork, but in architectural drawings, it's pretty much universally known to represent concrete. So you see that map that's at the top right corner of the drawing? That's called the vicinity map. And vicinity means something that's within close proximity or relationship to something else. So what this map is showing is where the project is within relationship to other things around it. And we'll use that to show anybody who's looking at this drawing a general idea of where the project is located within the city. Finally, to finish this drawing, I'll need to show what new work we're going to be doing on the site. So a new road's going to be added for easier access from a nearby side street that was previously cut off. This means that we'll have to do some demolition work of these existing sidewalks and parking areas, but we'll show this kind of work on a separate plan called a demo plan that you can see right here. We'll identify the things that need to be demolished with this crosshatch pattern, and anything that doesn't have this pattern will be existing to remain. As I mentioned in the previous video, we're also adding a new community building to the site to include offices, multi-purpose rooms, and a laundry facility, computer room, and a basketball court. As you can see, this is in a location where some apartment units are currently located, so they'll need to be demolished. Hopefully, nobody's still living in them when we tear them down. There's also 2 new laundry facilities being added in other locations on the site, so the people in the apartments far away from the community building don't have to walk like 2 blocks to do their laundry. Last but not least, we need to show which units on the site will be getting upgraded for wheelchair access. There's actually codes written for this kind of stuff that says if you have different types of units, like 2 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms, a certain percentage of each type needs to be made accessible. So on this project, we have 68 total 2-bedroom units, and the code says 10% of them need to be made accessible. So 10% of 68 would be 6.8. We'll round that up to 7, and we'll say that 7 out of the 68 total 2-bedroom units need to be upgraded to be made accessible. That's going to do it for this site plan. We've got a demo site plan showing all existing roads and sidewalks, all existing buildings on site, any demo work, all existing parking lots, property lines, and a vicinity map. And we have a proposed site plan that shows everything that's existing to remain after all that demo work, all the new proposed work, and most importantly, the north arrow, because we always want to know where north is for some reason. We'll get these 2 plans submitted to the city for site plan review, and they'll most likely come back with comments about things that we need to do with the project before they'll approve it. But once we make those corrections to our drawings, we'll resubmit the plans and hopefully receive approval to move on from here. Then we'll get into a different phase of the project called design development, but that's another day and another video. If you want to see more of what an architect does on a daily basis, go ahead and like this video and leave a comment down below and let me know what else you want to see. Also, feel free to ask me any questions about either the job of an architect or how to become an architect if you're interested in doing this one day. Until then, I'm Tyler, and this has been a day in the life of an architect. I'll see you in the next video.